Good afternoon, Kipsters. Today we're going to be learning about the Industrial Revolution in Europe. So as we're learning about this, we're going to go ahead and look at our aim that Kipsters will be able to describe how the Industrial Revolution changed the European society for women, children, and farmers. So today we live in the fourth largest city in America. The reason that we live in a city instead of on a farm is because of the Industrial Revolution that helped create cities and city life. Our big idea question that we're going to be thinking about and then writing about later is, how did the Industrial Revolution change European societies for women, children, and farmers? And you're going to be able to answer that in complete sentences using details from the graphic organizer that you're filling out to explain how life changed for each of these groups. Let's get started. So in your graphic organizer, the first top part of our graphic organizer is a box that says domestic system. The domestic system is the way that Europe worked before 1790. It was done at home and by hand. So most of the work in Europe was before 1790 done at home and by hand. This is known as the domestic system. Most jobs were in the agricultural and retail industries. If we remember, our agriculture was things that were grown, and then our retail was selling things directly to our customers. So most of our jobs were in the agricultural and retail industries. Number 2 is our factory system. After 1790, most work was done in factories by machines. This is known as the factory system. We're not going to turn and talk, but go ahead and think about for a second, which industry would the factories be in? That's right, it would be in the manufacturing industry. Most jobs were now in the manufacturing industry. So we moved from the agricultural and the retail into the manufacturing industry inside the factories. And I kind of remember this by looking at factoring, manufacturing, and factories. They kind of sound similar. So let's look at the impact of jobs moving from the agricultural and the farmers into the cities and the manufacturing industry. The machines made it possible to create a lot of goods really fast. Because of this, this created a lot of jobs in the factories because they needed a lot of people to make the goods really fast. People began to leave the farms and small towns to move to the city and work in the factories. So farmers began to leave their homes and work in the jobs in the cities because that's where all the jobs were. Just think to yourself for a minute, why would people leave your home in order to work in a factory? Some options might be because that's where their jobs were. Some might be because they wanted to experience something different, or because the farms weren't making enough money for their families anymore because all of the people were working in the cities now. Those are just a few of the reasons. The next group we're going to look at is the women. Before the Industrial Revolution, women worked in the home or on the farm in the domestic system. They would make the clothes, they would help the farm. They were not allowed to get a job outside of the home. But when the Industrial Revolution came about, they were now allowed women to work in the factories for the first time. Why do you think a woman might want to leave their home to work in a factory? Some might have left because they needed more money for their family. Some might have left because they wanted to experience what work might be like now that they were allowed to. Or maybe some of them just wanted to live on their own and be able to pay their bills by themselves. There's lots of reasons why they left to work in the factories. The last one was children. Before the Industrial Revolution, children worked at the home or on the farm with their families. So they stayed with their families, they worked with their families, and they helped build up the farm. During the Industrial Revolution, children began to work in the factories. Working in the factories was hard work, though. As the children, maybe no older than you, 12, 13, this became known as child labor because they paid for children who worked really hard jobs for very little money. So the children left their homes and they worked in the factories. They worked really hard jobs for very little money. Why do you think a kid might want to work in a factory? Maybe they didn't have any parents. Maybe they needed money to help support their family. There's lots of reasons why kids might have worked. That's all for your notes today, teammates. Go ahead and finish up your notes. If you are done completely, go ahead and review some of the past videos. Have a great day.